if the seals
Yes.
have already been opened, then Jesus will be here in 7 years or less if the seals were opened before today, no?
It's correct to say there is a 7-year period. There are 490 years actually mentioned in Daniel 9, 7 times 70, 490 years. And one thing is absolutely certain the last half of that final period of 7 years, in other words, 3.5 years, or 7 or 3.5 years, that period of time is mentioned, I think, 5 times in the book of Revelation. So of that I'm certain. The book of Revelation, which was written by Jesus, by the way, it was given to Jesus by his Father. It specifically mentions a period of 3.5 years as being the final half of that final period of 7 years. So there is a period of 7 years. And I'm against date setting of all sorts. I would not dare to say that the seals have already been opened exactly chronologically, because otherwise we would be able to know that we are 7 years from the end of the age. And I don't think we can say that. What I will say is this: Daniel 12, verse 11, speaks of 1290 days from the setting up of the abomination of desolation. You know that phrase. That's one of the chronological markers we can be certain of. Look at that one. This is a very special verse, verse 11. From the time the regular sacrifice, which suggests a temple in the Middle East, which we haven't got yet, the regular sacrifice is abolished. From that moment, which is the abolition of the regular sacrifice, at the same time, the abomination of desolation, from the moment that that is set up, and it hasn't happened yet, there'll be 1290 days, which is 1 month longer than 1260 days. That is a chronological marker that you can be certain of. There are systems of prophecy, I will add, which say that all the days really should be years. I think that's quite false. 1290 days is 3.5 years, a time, times, and half time. That chronological period is specified in the book of Revelation. So if you see the abomination of desolation standing where he, I'm quoting Mark 13:14, which says where he ought not to be, ought not to be. So the abomination is a person, a final anti-Christian person. When you see him set himself up in a rebuilt temple, as I believe it would have to be, then you can be rather certain that we are very close to the end of the age. Until you see that marker, that appearance of the abomination of desolation standing where he ought not to, your translation should read in Mark 13:14, standing where he ought not to, then you will know we are very close. Until that happens, and we don't have a temple in the Middle East right now, that would mean we'd have to have at least 3.5 years more. So I would hesitate to set any kind of a date, because it's been done quite wrongly. You know, the Jehovah's Witnesses thought 1914 was for sure. I would avoid setting any dates at this point until we get to 1260 days or 1290 days from the end.